Okay, Danielle, so I don't have it open, so you'll just bring it to me, and I'll introduce some of the fellows, and we'll go from there. You don't happen to know how many years we've been doing this here, do you? PL and West Shamokin. I can just say they play each other, and when McCullough gets here in the first break, I can just say they play each other if I don't have it. Yes, we are. I was losing you there. What did you say last? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. Let's use it. You're going to have to verbally cue me. Okay. Hi, everybody. We're getting ready. And you need to verbally cue me, okay?
Yeah, but we don't need him in the scene yet. Okay. Hey, Randy, Mark Burdick calling. Need to help with Mark Burdick gets some damage at Mario's showroom. Give me a call and I'll tell you about it. Yeah. Okay, Jake, I'm going to be here first. Okay. So, hey, we'll open with Todd, and then we'll have Mario as a guest and talk about Coach's Corner and no, right there. You're going to be right there. Social distancing. No. So hey, John, Mario be looking that way then?
Welcome to Luther Ford Lincoln in Homer City. Todd Marino, Mark Burdig, Chuck Clark floating around here, Jake Slobodnik, a bunch of football coaches. Even Mario Luther is here. It is our annual Luther Ford Coaches Show here on WCCS. Now, you can get us in a variety of ways, of course, on the radio at FM 101.1, AM 1160. You can also stream it and click on WCCSradio.com. Our sports channel is there, a direct link. Just click on that, and you're off and ready to go. Or you can actually watch us on our YouTube channel. Just go to our Facebook page at WCCS, and you've got it that way as well. Let's swing it right over to Mark Burdig, who's with Mario Luther, who's a very busy man, and Mark, so are you, and football's a very busy time. So let's kick this one off, shall we?
Yeah, after I destroy his showroom, okay?
Yeah, you did that already.
We'll get that repaired. Mario, thanks again for having us. as you well know, crazy year. Nothing's normal, and neither is this show happening in September. But we're just pleased for the sake of the student athletes that we're going to have some high school football starting this Friday, and this has been a tradition. Usually it's held in August, but happy to be here. And then Coach's Corner will kick off every Saturday, too, the Luther Ford Lincoln Coach's Corner show. So thank you so much.
Microphone. Mark, microphone. There we go.
Okay, anyway, always welcome to have you guys here, and just happy that we're going to have a season, because I know what the younger kids and the kids that participate and parents and everybody, for months, let's face it, we crossed our fingers, and as you know, some of the conferences canceled. So I'm happy that that we're having it. Better late than never, and I wish all the kids and everybody out there health, along with the coaches, and hopefully we can get through a whole season without any accidents.
Exactly right, and COVID-free and all of that. Mario, we were just yesterday, I guess, Labor Day, I'd stopped by and talking some football stories from way back. Your own history with the game of football at Homer Center and IUP. I mean, you've had a love of the game. Your son played in high school and collegiately. Now he's involved with the dealership.
Yeah, you know what? It's like everybody from that you're around this town. I think you're here and you stay, like yourself and your family. And it started out, with Pee-wees and all the way up through high school, and fortunate to play college ball. And, it's just a way of life everywhere. Everybody looks forward to it. I think it's going to be a little bit of an escape from this COVID, just to get your mind off it. We've had whatever it's since February or March, and it's time. Be careful, but move on. And I think this is a great release for everybody.
Well, let's face it, I'm not going to apologize, too. We like to sell cars at Luther Ford. That's part of the game, and you'll be here until 8 o'clock tonight and right through the rest of this year. And I know it's been challenging in that regard, too, but you've had some good months, and there's some great deals out there on Ford and Lincoln. That's what you specialize in, but you can get about anything in here as far as used.
Pre-owned, new, like you said, Ford, Lincoln. Pre-owned, we can get pretty much, like you said, anything. And between the three dealerships, Freedom Ford and Freedom Chrysler, if we don't have it, like you said, we can get it. So looking forward, like you said, it's been trying for everybody. You folks know IUP. I mean, that's got to put a lot of stress, and it's something that you're used to. Same with us, closed down a few months, and I see restaurants are opening a little bit more, 50%. I go out to those folks or anybody that's been crippled like that. So looking forward to close out the third quarter and get in the fourth and be successful, like I hope the young men that are going to play this year, and stay healthy.
All right, thanks for doing this. Maybe we'll get you back on before the end of the show, maybe Dante too.
Sure.
All right. Mario Luther Ford Lincoln, so supportive of amateur athletics, charities, through the Luther Ford Charity Golf Classics. Even without a golf classic, Todd, They raised $17,000 this year. So he gives back to the community in such a big way.
Played all that football, he doesn't even limp. All that football, and he doesn't even limp. How about that?
That's right.
That's amazing. We can't even walk. All right, so here on the program tonight, we're going to be talking with the coaches from the Heritage Conference and Indiana High's Brandon Overdorf as we bring you this program this evening. We've got a lot of people to introduce to you today, including our new Indiana High broadcast crew. I see them off to my left. I want to tell you that coming up on Friday, we'll have our first games of the year, of course, as the season opens, and the game lineup for this week is on WDAD, AM 1450, 100.3 FM. It's Indiana at Armstrong High in that beautiful facility. On Cat Country 106.3 FM, the Penns Manor Comets will be visiting the Blairsville Bobcats. Billy Packer is here right now, as a matter of fact, the Penns Manor coach. He'll be on with us in a few. Homer Center is at United this week on WCCS right here at 101.1 FM and AM 1160. And the Saltsburg Trojans visit the Marian Center Stingers, and that'll be on 92.5 FM U92. Of course, you can also get the games online, and there are a variety of ways to do that. The other games in the Heritage Conference, just to fill out the schedule, Bishop Carroll visits Northern Cambria. Bishop Carroll's the floater team coming in from out of conference to play all of our Heritage Conference teams to round out the schedule. Purchase Line at West Shamokin on Friday. We'll have those coaches on with us as well. Coming up in just a moment, Greg Page is here. Mark Burdig will be talking with him. It is the Luther Ford head coaches program here this evening. I see I'm in that habit of saying this morning on AM 1160 WCCS 101.1 FM. No. It's time for you to get on the air right now. No. We are back at Luther Ford Lincoln, and we are hosting tonight the head coaches program for our Heritage Conference coaches and Indiana High coach Brandon Overdorf as well. And we're going to welcome our first coach of the evening and bring back Mark Burdig to speak with him. Mark Burdig, of course, the voice of the Homer Center Wildcats on the air for all these many years, along with Ward Hilliard. They'll be there on Friday at United. And speaking of beautiful facilities, they certainly have that. Greg Page, the Wildcats coach, slips in from behind, and let's swing it over. Mark, you've got the head coach of the Wildcats.
All right, and we do have the head coach of the Wildcats in his 14th season. He was supposed to be over there. I was supposed to be here, so no, we're good with one mic here because we were having a mic issue with that wireless mic, so my mask is actually in the car. I will have to get that before I get in trouble. But anyway, Coach, 14th season already at Homer Center, and you're expecting big things.
Oh, well, we try to every year. There's one thing about having things on paper, how things look on paper, but there's another thing having it materialize. But it's just one of those things where I was just talking to John over here, Coach McCullough, and it's going to be a really good balanced league. It's one of those things where the coaching is so good. It's really improved over the last several years. It's just so good. So, you have to be ready every week.
Well, tell us about your preseason camp. Everything's just seems so condensed, and then school starts, so that makes it even more condensed. But I think everybody's also happy to play some football, and you work with the circumstances, the hand that's dealt, so to speak.
That's been our mindset since mid to late June, when all this was accelerated again. And the thing of it is, we don't mind going through the things we have to go through. We're now involved in that routine where it doesn't even feel like you're doing anything extra, because you're doing what the powers that be are recommending and wanting you to do to try to keep safe. And there's nothing that's 100% guaranteed. Everybody understands that, but the kids are excited. We did our best version of our camp last week. We had our first week of school with students in session, so we let them go home for a couple hours and come back and did a 3-hour session each day, which, you're not getting as much time in as you normally would on a regular camp year, but you make the best of it. So that's kind of where we were, and then pick up today right after school on one of the hottest days of the summer. But in all reality, I thought we had a good workout considering that.
Well, let's talk about the team, and I guess everything will revolve around your 4-year starting quarterback, Ben Schmidt, who is back, led the team as a freshman with a great group around him to the state championship game in his freshman season. He's broken about every quarterback record at Homer Center, over 3,700 yards passing, most consecutive starts, most wins. Granted, back in the day, most kids didn't play as a freshman, but still he has accomplished a lot, and he has the senior year ahead of him.
Yeah, we're pleased. I'm pleased that he put so much time and effort into getting stronger. I hope he's just as nimble on his feet as he's been with that added weight. His leadership capabilities have increased, and when you're a senior, it's basically your last shot. So that's an important thing with the leadership. And we moved our offense around last year because he is the typical dual threat type of quarterback. So we do have big things that we expect from him, and but he's not the only one. You have to have guys to complement him, and you have to have hardworking guys that get the job up front.
And that added weight, of course, he's a workout fanatic. One of the hardest working young men I think you've had in your 14 years.
Yeah, we've had a lot of them. I mean, it was, it's one of those deals where maybe because we were out of the weight room for such an extended period of time in the spring and early summer, but he wanted to try to make up for that. But again, like I said, we have several guys that took that same kind of attitude on, and I hope it pays dividends.
Talk about your offense. In addition to Ben, you returned Drew Kaufman and Travis Mock, two talented receivers who combined for about 60 receptions a year ago, and you can go from there.
Yeah, you know what? I think both of them, Kaufman and Mock, really started to come into their own last year. And we had Doherty, who was a marquee receiver, but those two guys, they really improved their route running, their hands. Mock was always a tough kid, played a lot more as a sophomore, I think, than Drew did. Drew battled some injuries, but I'm just pleased with them. I'm pleased with how they do things. We can do different things with them. Michael Krajosik has emerged as another receiver, as a young sophomore who's got some nice ability. We got a couple guys rotating at tight end between Brennan Mogul, Brock Hauser, and Shane McCoy. We call him Shady. So those guys with, Justin Walbeck in the backfield and Colin Troop backing him up. Those are some decent skill guys. Everybody in the league's got good skill guys. So we have to find that edge and that advantage, with what we do. And then up front, we got a hard-working crew. I'm still looking for them to get that, edge where they can, they just kind of, I don't want to say nastiness, but I mean that in a good football way. We got Micah Hurd returning at center as a starter and Nick Manzanilla as a tackle. Michael Yunt is still kind of sidelined with a summertime injury. He's another returning guy that'll go to tackle. Sage Bernard was a part-time starter up front. He'll be at a guard. And then you got guys like, Vinny Tagliotti, Aiden Bakina, Isaiah Benz. Those are guys battling for time up front as well. So, it's just one of those things where, and Bryson Graham backs those guys up too. Bryson's such a hard worker and knows what he's doing and what's going on. But, it revolves around everybody. Everybody has to, have a good role in what we're doing. I mean, I know a lot of people focus on the quarterback, but it has to be 11 guys as a unit.
Okay, let's flip to defense. What can you tell us? Maybe some guys that you'll really be counting on. I know it starts in the middle with Justin Walbeck and Brock Hauser, who returns from a horrific ankle injury mid-season, and I know he's worked hard to get back, probably not quite 100% yet, but those two should anchor the defense.
They do, yeah. Walbeck's played a lot since his freshman year. It was kind of by default 2 years ago. Brock is back, and he's doing okay. I mean, he's doing okay with that injury, and he rehabbed real hard, and it's his senior year. You want him to have a good year. Without mentioning all the names again, basically all the guys on the O-line flipped to the D-line, with adding in Caden Brown, who's getting some time at nose guard and may start there. Came back out as a senior, and he's a nice looking size kid. You got Mason Bell as a kid on the edge as a DN that we're looking, he needs to step up and be a more physical guy for us. Riley Clevenger, another young sophomore who will get some time at outside linebacker. And then the aforementioned receivers, Mock, Kaufman, Krajosik will flip over to the secondary, backed up by guys like Anthony Rowland and Colin Troop. It's just one of those things. I wasn't real pleased, and I know our coaches weren't, with how we were in the scrimmage Saturday, especially defensively. So, we got to get a better alignment and get more physical.
I look at the starting lineup, and even though it's a veteran team, yet you mentioned a lot of youngsters mixed in there. Quite a few sophomores that you just reeled off.
It is. Another reason for that is Yunt is still sidelined with an injury. He played a lot. We lost a kid to Indiana that moved. Losing Doherty, Alex Pribish, Dakota Kulisar, Jake Hubler, they were 4 starters on the defensive side of the ball. So, and there's a 5th one that moved, like I said, and a 6th one that's banged up. So now you're down to 4 or 5 returning starters. Hence, we have to go with some of the younger guys.
All right, finally a little bit of a different look. You know, Ligonier, of course, has moved on to the WPIAL. Bishop Carroll will fill in this year, and I think to kind of close with what you opened with, I think there's going to be a lot of balance and a lot of really good teams, and it should make for a interesting battle. I know there's no Appalachian Bowl, but there will be a Heritage Conference champion, and I think you'll be one of the teams in the mix, but there could be quite a few.
I said it earlier. I've got a tremendous amount of respect for the programs in this conference. You know, Ligonier, what they did in recent years especially was they raised the bar of competition and level of preparation because they were just lights out. And I think the rest of us took that ball and ran with it. You got good coaching, you got tough kids, you know, established coaches that have their programs where they want them to be. And now, so you know, there's not going to be any easy games on a Friday night. I mean, you know, you may have a team that gets down or a little bit here and there with injuries and such. We were kind of there last year to a point. But it's just one of those things you have to be ready every week. So as to your point, I believe the balance will be there, and I believe it's going to be a lot of good battles on Friday nights.
You open up at United Friday night. We'll have that game right here on WCCS beginning at 6:20. And Jody Rainey and Colin Stokes will be coming along the program in a little while. We'll be talking a lot of the expanded media coverage, too. We'll be video streaming games ourselves. Friday night, the game will be video streamed, but as part of the Pixelot National Federation High School deal where folks will have to be a member, and it's a very small subscription fee, and you get any game in the country. So we'll talk more about that. But I know you'll be going against an old family friend, Kevin Marabito, who is one heck of a coach, isn't he?
Yeah, I've said it every year, every time we've played them. He coached me in midgets. I know I wasn't much of a midget football player.
You were more of a midget back then.
Yeah, he was, and he was there, and he probably shook his head a lot of nights, but you know, the family pressure to play the game was, but then, you know, Kevin was
1.1 FM, also streaming live on our website, WCCSradio.com, and practice for a couple of weeks, scrimmage over the weekend. Let's start there. What was the scrimmage like, and who'd you play?
Because we actually today was the first day of school for us.
Yeah.
So we went 2-a-days last week, if you allow it to be.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I think, you know, our kids have done a really good job here of everything so far, and I expect that to be no different.
The West Shamokin football Wolves that we've watched over the last few years have been teams featuring tough running backs, quarterbacks who are pretty adaptable. The football can tuck it. Linemen, the football.
I think we have a decent core of kids there.
Yeah. Quarterback Bo Schwartz, want to go back to him for a second. We see him on the basketball floor and
Yes.
the leadership that's swing it around on the defensive side of the ball. You've always been known for those defensive linemen who get low and linebackers who get into the backfield.
Right.
I'm assuming that's the approach again this year.
Yeah, defense, that's my side ball. That's my baby. So
Yeah.
you know, I'm always, getting after. I think we have the. I think so.
Welcome back. We are at the Luther Ford Lincoln dealership on Route 119 in Homer City. It's the Luther Ford Coaches Preview Show. Coming up on Saturday morning, it will be the first edition for the season of the Luther Ford Coaches Corner. That'll be
bad last year. Defensively, we didn't have a lot of team speed. We made some adjustments this year. We put our linebackers, we moved Carlinzi to linebacker and Kevin Baum into backer, and those guys are we have a lot more speed in there from sideline to sideline. We weren't very good at that last year. Also, our passing game, we were playing a freshman at quarterback, and he was young. We started throwing the ball a little bit better towards the end of the year. He's doing a real nice job now. Max Hill, he's stepped up, and he's gotten a lot bigger, and he's doing a real good job.
583 yards passing last year in his freshman season, 4 touchdowns, but 10 interceptions. I'm sure that's one number you're trying to bring down, right?
Definitely, and it all starts up front with that offensive line too. They have to give him time, and we feel pretty good with the line we have up there now. Our center, Parker Clayton. He's really stepped up. This is going to be his first year starting, but he stepped up in the summer. He lifted, and he ended up becoming one of our captains, and just a good nucleus guy there to start with. And then we have I.J. Carlinzi back and Ethan Joyner at our guards, and Ty Fennell and Cole Cunningham at tackles, and Reese Hayes, our tight end. So we have a little bit of size there. We're not real big, but these kids are they've really worked hard, and they've lifted, and they got a lot stronger.
Well, that was my next question. Are they a stronger unit than they were last year at this time?
Definitely. I think we're stronger. We have more seniors this year. These kids really worked hard in the off season. They got in the weight room. I know with this pandemic, it hurt. They had to stop going in there for a while, but they picked up when they had to, and they did what they had to, and these kids are definitely stronger.
I know another name that you're hoping to get a good season out of is Grant Grimaldi, who will play some at tight end, right?
Yeah, definitely. He's a big kid. He's probably 6'4" right now, and he does a nice job blocking up front for us. We can also slide him out at a receiver once in a while, throw the ball up to him. He's a good kid. He's a junior, and we're looking for big things from him.
Now, how about defensively for the Comets? Do you have some people earmarked that you're hoping will have a good season?
Yeah, we have a couple younger guys playing. Our defensive line, we have Cole Cunningham and Nathan Raphael, our inside guys. Raphael was a freshman last year, so he'll be starting as a sophomore this year. He has some nice size inside. And our defensive ends will be Reese Hayes and Ethan Joyner. So our defensive line, we feel pretty strong there. Linebackers, Kevin Baum and Carlinzi. So we feel like we have some speed defensively where we haven't had, like I said. And our outside backers now, we have Corvina and Max Hill. Even though he's quarterback and we're going to play him a little bit, he's really gotten himself strong, and he does a nice job there. So we feel like we have a lot of speed, and our safety, he's our quarterback of our team defensively, is Dimitri Lieb. He does a real nice job. He had a nice season last year with a few interceptions, and comes up and makes tackles real well.
There's a group that's always overlooked when you talk about those people that need to put a high school football team together. That's your assistant coaches. Let's highlight those fellows.
Yeah. Well, it all starts special teams coach Aaron Packer. He does a real nice job with special teams. Unfortunately, that's probably where we're behind a little bit this year because of just because of the way things were and not having enough practice time. So, but he does a great job for us. Our defense coordinator, Eric Mishko, and Bob Packer, and Aaron Packer also do the defense. They do a great job there. Our offense coordinator, Brad Packer, and I don't want to miss anybody. I have quite a few guys here, but I have Bobby Perani that works on the line, and Chad Kazemchak with the receivers, and I have some good volunteers that help us out. So I have a lot of help, and without those guys, we wouldn't be anything. So
finally, Coach, your game with Blairsville last year went right down to the wire. Anybody who was watching that game really got their money's worth.
They did. It went back and forth. We thought we were going to win there at the end, and then Blairsville came back and put one in. It was under 2 minutes, I think, and then we put one in. I don't know what it was, but it was under a minute, I think, and it still came down to. I was scared the whole way through it, and down to the last play. So I look forward to another great game this week.
Comets will open up the season at Blairsville Friday night. Of course, we'll have all the action on Cat Country 106.3 FM and our streaming services that will be available this year for many of our Heritage Conference teams. Coach, best of luck Friday night and on this season.
Thanks a lot, Chuck.
Todd?
there's nothing scares that guy. He said he was scared. There's nothing scares that guy. Comets and the Bobcats coming up Friday on Cat Country 106.3 FM. Coming up, we're going to introduce to you a couple of new fellas who will be, well, covering all the Indiana High Little Indians games for you on WDAD, and the head coach of the Little Indians, Brandon Oberdorf, is with us as well. This is the Luther Ford Coaches Preview Show right here on AM 1160 WCCS, 101.1 FM, online, WCCSradio.com. You can listen to us there, and you can visit our Facebook page and watch the program as well. Just click on the link, and we're back in 30 seconds. Welcome back. It's the Luther Ford Coaches Preview Show. I want to thank Mario Luther and the entire Luther Ford family for welcoming us in, as they do every year, to the dealership for this annual show where we get all the coaches together and talk a little football. And one of those guys who used to use his legs on the Heritage Conference fields is over to our left. He's Brandon Oberdorf, head man of the Indiana High Little Indians. Ran a few balls, didn't you?
Yeah, a long time ago, Todd. It was the Appalachian Conference then, not the Heritage Conference.
That's right. You're absolutely
good times,
right.
Good memories.
Oh, yeah, man. I remember those playoff games and that big game at Mansion Park. Good stuff back then. This year, as coach of the Indiana High Little Indians, he will be coaching the games on the field. You, Jake Slobodnik, are going to be up in the booth calling the plays, and you'll have a fellow with you that we all know very well. Pat Doherty is with us as well, and he's going to join you.
That's right, and I'm excited to work with Pat, and I'm excited to work for Renner Broadcasting. I'm excited to cover you, Coach Oberdorf.
Well, we're excited to have you guys. Looking forward to at least getting to play some football and give you something to do, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, in July, we didn't think we'd even be close to this. So I think everybody should just be ecstatic that football's going and we're going to play. And I know the community's really excited for you, Coach, and you guys have worked really hard.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. We're really looking forward to it. Thankful for the opportunity. Like you said, it's been a long, hard road, and I know you were part of that on our parent committee of getting us back on the field with the school board and things. So we're thankful to have the opportunity and looking forward to Friday at Armstrong.
All right, Jake, take it away.
All right, thanks, Todd. Well, Coach, your third coaches show here on WCCS. Good to have you, as we said before. But let's set the tone with a bit of a look to last weekend, where you opened up your final week of preparation with a scrimmage against Pearl. The team with one of the highest-ranked WPIAL quarterbacks in the area. And the team looked pretty solid from my end. A few hiccups here and there, but that's why we have preparation here this week. But what are your thoughts from the action just overall in the scrimmage?
Well, lots of things to work on, like I told you Saturday, but a lot of good things too. It's pretty obvious we are getting better, and I think that starts up front with our offensive line. We have some experience there, returning 4 seniors and 4 guys that have started a lot for us, led by Matt Nelson, who's a 6'2", 270-pound guard for us, who I think really looks good through camp and through the scrimmage. Tanner Smith is also back. Gavin Prebish is also back, and Gavin Millen round out those guys that's experience coming back. And it looks like Jake McCracken's going to step in at the other tackle position for us as a junior. So we're excited about our line. That's where our experience lies, and we're going to try to ride that and run the football. And the same thing on the defensive side of the ball. We return all those defensive linemen, same names, just on the other side of the ball. So that was probably our strength. We had a little bit of a quarterback battle coming in with our returning quarterback, Fox Van Leer, who started every game for us at quarterback and free safety last year as a sophomore. But he was in a competition with Devin Flint, who missed a lot of games last year due to injury and some other issues. But it was a heated competition. But I thought both those guys it had some really nice moments in the scrimmage. Like I told you Saturday, Devin probably – if we have anything that's close to a home run hitter, Devin's that guy. So he has that upside of he can go the distance at any point in time, and Fox is really technical and has that experience under his belt. So it's an interesting competition. It looks like Devin's going to start Friday because, unfortunately, Fox sustained an injury in practice yesterday, so we don't know if we're going to have him Friday or not. So that mystery's solved. We can move forward there, and we got some running backs back in Zach Harrington and Elijah Mock are kind of battling for our B-back, fullback position, and we'll see. We're still really young at our skill positions, and we're still very undersized. So, and defensively, our secondary is really young and undersized. So we got a lot of holes to fill. We'll see. We got to get more physical. I think that was evident on Saturday. We're still not nearly to the point physicality-wise that we need to be to compete in our conference, even our new conference. So those are the things we're looking to improve on, and that's what we saw Saturday.
You mentioned the returning upperclassmen at the front of the lines for both offense and defense, and one thing that I noticed on Saturday, and I believe you touched on this, was how often you ran the ball on Saturday. But one thing I'm sure myself as well as everyone watching and listening would like to know with this wall of I guess bricks, if you want to call it that, up front, is there any room for maybe a balance of pass and run offense, given with, as you mentioned, Devin and Fox both have different characteristics that they can bring to the field, but with those characteristics and the lines up front, is there any room for maybe a balance of pass and run, or are you just going to stick strictly?
Well, we're a triple option football team. That means we want to run the football, and we're built for that. Obviously, if we can throw the football, if we show the ability to throw the football, we'd like to do that some of the time too, and we're options. So, we want to have an option, a third of the time as well. So in a perfect world, you'd like to do all those things, but, we're built to run the football this year, so we're going to try to run the football, and when we throw it, we're going to mean it. And so to answer your question, we'll see. I guess. Yes and no.
Time tell, I guess. But going back to Saturday, one thing I noticed was the way your defensive line broke through, especially on rushing plays. There was a lot of tackles for losses and forced fumbles, I noticed. A little bit, they were able to break through with the passing game. But what about the pass prevention? What are you doing to improve on that as the season approaches here on Friday?
Well, we got to be more aggressive, like I said, and we're going to take our chances on defense and send some people now and again. And we play a lot of spread offenses. Armstrong on Friday, again, is going to be a spread offense, just like we played in Borough in our scrimmage. They have a really nice 6'3" young quarterback replacing a kid who's actually back, but they've moved to wide receiver that had success against us last year. So they have a lot of skill guys. They're going to throw the ball around. We're going to have to get some pressure on the quarterback. We're going to have to play sound coverage in the secondary. We didn't get to go to as many 7-on-7s, obviously, this summer as we would like to, and we're young there, and now we got some injuries we got to overcome. So we got our hands full, but we got great coaching staff, and I should probably mention those guys. Bill Warwick leads our defense, and then Scott Mosgrove handles our secondary. Our linebackers are handled by Mike Weaver. Those guys do an outstanding job on the defensive side of the ball, and we practice hard, we coach them hard, and then the kids got to go out there and perform. And so hopefully we've prepared them, and they'll be ready. And then our coaches on the offensive side of the ball, myself, and then Coach Boyano handles our running backs, and our offensive line coaches, Don Hanai. Just want to give a shout out to those guys for the work that they do, and those guys showing up every day under the circumstances this summer to give of their time and their abilities to try to help these kids develop. So we just practice, and you hope the kids come out and perform.
And just like on the field, it takes a team to win. It takes a team of coaches in order to beat these students. So
absolutely.
That's one thing that definitely plays a big part going forward.
Cutting out a little bit there, Jake.
I'm sorry about
There
that.
you go.
Let's transition into this week. Friday, your first action in head-to-head competition that will count. You open up against Armstrong. You did last year as well. I'm not really coming up on the victorious side of things, but this is a brand new year, a brand new slate. What are you noticing about the players' attitudes and overall atmosphere in the locker room as we head into week one?
Oh, I think they've just been excited to play. I think that's the thing that through the summer especially, they were just glad to get out of the basement, get out of the house, and see each other again and interact and be teenagers. So from a coach's standpoint, I'd say in my time coaching, that was just exciting to see that they were happy to be there. And, we have a lot of kids this year. I mean, we started with like 65 different kids. We're down under 60 now, but just that excitement. And then, we didn't have the camp that we usually have, so they're still pretty fresh. Didn't exactly have a great practice today with school starting, but that's kind of be expected. But I think, they're just happy to play, happy to be together, being kids, and really that's what it's all about. And, it's hard to believe that the first game has been delayed 3 weeks, but yet we're 3 days away, so it's just surreal. The whole season's been surreal. So I think when we get off the bus in Armstrong, I think I'm just going to breathe a sigh of relief, all we've been through to get there. And so we're looking forward to that moment. And last year we made every mistake we could have possibly made with a young team, and we turned the ball over continuously. And we really beat ourselves in that football game. And we can't do that. And we did that all year long. So we've got to take care of the football, number one, and play with more enthusiasm. And that comes with making positive plays. So just let it all go and just go have fun like we've been doing all summer. I think we'll be all right.
What does the scouting report say for the Armstrong this week?
Like I said earlier, they have a really nice young quarterback. I think he's a sophomore. He's 6'3". He's kind of traveled the country on that 7-on-7 Nike circuit, and they obviously think very highly of him because they've replaced their starter from last year, who's back with him, it appears on tape, and moved the other kid to wide receiver, and he was a really good athlete. So, and if you look at the receiving core, they're all athletic type kids. They may not be quite as big up front, but they're still pretty solid and physical. They're always a tough group of kids down there, and they spread the ball out on offense. They're going to be 3-4 wide, and defensively they're going to line up in a 4-2 and play a lot of cover 3, it looks like, and they're always tough physical kids, and I'm sure they'll be ready to go, but it should be a really good matchup.
Last question I'll leave off on. You mentioned a lot of the assets that Armstrong's going to bring to the table. How are you and your coaching staff formulating a game plan to go around this?
Well, we got to build on our strength, like I said, and I think that starts in the middle with our offensive line, and we're going to come right at people in our offense and put a lot of faith in our quarterback to make the right reads, and if we do that, I think we'll have some success offensively. We got to stay healthy. We're very thin at the skill position across the board. We're building some depth at our line positions, but our skill guys are just still young, and we're very thin in the depth area there. And defensively, we've got to step up our game in our physical nature, and our want-to, and our want to run to the football and hit people. I have been stressing that since the day I walked in the door at Indiana, and we've got to get there if we're going to be successful. We've got to get that mindset. And so that's, as you're building a program, that's one of the things we're trying to overcome. And if we can take a step in that direction, I think success is going to start to come. If we don't, we're going to struggle for a while. But the goal is, we just got to keep getting better every day, and nothing else matters. And that whole journey, hopefully it lasts all season, starts Friday night.
Physicality, the name of the game for Coach Brandon Overdorf. They will open their season on Friday against Armstrong on WDAD. We'll see you there, Coach.
All right, we'll see you there, Jake. Thanks.
All right, Coach Brandon Overdorf. Mark, back to you.
All right, Jake, thank you. A new day for Indiana High, a new season, and a new broadcast team, too. Jake Slobodnik and Pat Doherty are going to team up. Pat has been around Indiana football. I won't even say for how long, because that will date him a little bit, and we don't want to do that. We're going to step out. We want to thank Mario Luther, Dante Luther, and the entire team here at Luther Ford Lincoln for hosting us once again for this annual extravaganza. We even have a dog in the house barking right on cue. And we're going to come back with Jody Rainey. He's the principal at Homer Center Junior Senior High School, but his role tonight is as the president of the Heritage Conference. We'll do that when we continue from Luther Ford. It's the annual Luther Ford High School Coaches Football Preview Show, and we'll be back after this on WCCS. You at Luther Ford in Homer City as we continue with the Luther Ford Coaches Show right up until 8 o'clock. We thank all of our coaches, or at least most of them. Only one will not be here tonight. That is Rick Artley from Blairsville. We reached out a number of times and could not get to hook up, get him to commit to tonight's program. So we do appreciate everybody that has come by. And that includes a new guest for this program, Jody Rainey, president of the Heritage Conference. Jody, the camera is that way for video purposes, so you can, say hello to everybody. In more ways than one, man, you've had a busy summer preparing as, principal through all this COVID stuff, and also as the president of the Heritage Conference with an absolute roller coaster. Is there going to be sports? Is there not going to be sports and activities? And here we are now days away from the season opener for football this coming Friday. So kind of summarize that for us. It's been wild and woolly, hasn't it?
It has been, and it changes so much. Like for us, I give a lot of credit to our athletic directors in the Heritage Conference. They did a lot of the legwork for our health and safety plan and enabling the principals to get ready to open up our schools. And then even the principals who've contributed. The challenge, Mark, as we've talked before, is the fact that, it continually changes. When we think we have a plan, we have it approved, and then we have to make revisions to it. But, ultimately, as I said many a times, a month ago we didn't even think we were going to be able to play. Now we can. We weren't sure we could include our band and cheer. Now we can. And right now, on a very limited basis, we can provide opportunities, at least for parents or spectators, on a limited basis for varsity football. And so we're happy that that continues to improve. And as I shared with you earlier, House Bill 2787 that's been approved by the House, it's to be voted upon in the Senate this week. I think the most important thing to note is if it does get passed in the Senate, obviously a little social studies lesson. From a former social studies teacher, the governor can either sign it, he can veto it, or he can set for 10 days, and if he doesn't sign it, becomes law. So what we're working towards now is we're encouraging everybody to contact their senators and state representatives to make sure that we're pretty confident it's going to pass the Senate, but if it would happen to be vetoed, that we need to get enough votes that we can override the veto. And so that's what we're emphasizing for everybody out there, to take a look online at House Bill 2787 and contact your senators and representatives and ask them to fully support it.
So here it is here, House Bill 2787. Exactly what will that mean? I know right now as we stand, it's 250 total in the stadium, but that includes players, coaches, officials, medics, media, press box workers, clock operator, etc. What would this document do?
The biggest thing that it does is related to spectators, Mark, is it gives the school districts opportunity to develop health and safety plans and make that determination of allowing more spectators to attend, as long as we can still meet the social distancing guidelines, the face covering guidelines, and things of that nature. So it gives the districts a little more opportunity to approve their own plans and to manage their stadiums the best they can to allow more spectators the opportunity to see, especially parents, for their kids.
So that wouldn't be a fixed number. It would be up to the discretion of the schools, then it could vary by school district?
That's correct. It'd be up to the local districts to decide how they were going to manage their spectators, and then as long as they were within compliance of all the health and safety plans that the CDC is recommending, especially as it relates to social distancing and face coverings.
Well, that's good. And how hopeful are you? What are you hearing?
I'm very optimistic it's going to pass the Senate. The question now becomes, we don't really know what Governor Wolf will do with it. And so that's yet to be seen. So we're continuing to work to make sure that we get enough bipartisan support for it, that if it does happen to be vetoed, it will carry, and we can override that veto and put that decision making back into the local hands, or the hands of the local boards.
All right. And Jody, I also want to touch on the subject of media, because I know there was some angst that way, or radio stations or newspapers and other bloggers and what have you going to be allowed in stadiums to cover teams. I know you told me early on in the summer you felt that the media was more essential than ever before, and selfishly I agreed with you because we want to be able to get the games out to the fans in as many ways as we can. And I guess it's not an official partnership maybe, but we do feel very proud that we have such a great long-standing relationship with the Heritage Conference, and we are going to broaden things out a little bit starting this Friday, where we are producing 2 video streams of games. We ran a little bit of a test on Saturday night in Blairsville, Saturday morning over at Homer Center for their scrimmage. Saturday night was more of our full scrimmage because we used a couple of different camera angles. So Friday night we'll be out at Marian Center to stream Saltsburg, and we'll also be at Blairsville to stream Penn's Manor and the Blairsville Bobcats. And then there's a thing called Pixelot through the National Federation of High School. I can never get those letters right. Or is it National High School Federation?
National Federation. High schools.
Now we'll be tapping into that on Friday night out at United. So the WCCS audio feed of the Lions and the Wildcats will be on Pixelot. So tell fans, because we'll be running into that at different venues, how that all works.
Yeah, so the National Federation provides opportunities. They have what they call the National Federation Network. That's a nationwide network. So there's been a lot of questions about what does it cost to get a subscription? What does that provide the person who's subscribing? What that does is any sport that you can think of. You like water polo, you could watch. If it's broadcast on the National Federation Network, you can watch it. So the subscription is $10.99 a month, or it's $69.99 for the year, and that gets you any game that's broadcast. So, for instance, Homer Center is moving that direction. We do not have our cameras installed yet, and that's the case for several of our schools, which I'll talk about here in a moment. But so Friday night at United and Penn's Manor are 2 schools right now that have their cameras installed at their stadiums. So for our fans at Homer Center, for instance, if they get their subscription, they can tune in through a live stream feed to watch the United Homer Center varsity football game. I think the other thing that's important to note, even though in the Heritage Conference we're going to be able to have fans at our junior high games and our JV games, we're going to probably restrict that to 2 parents per player. We'll give the tickets to the players for both the home and away teams. But those games also will be broadcast on a Pixelot system. So that right now, what we're doing for varsity football, Penn's Manor and United have their systems up and running.
And we ran a little test with audio last week.
Right. You guys are committed to Blairsville and Saltsburg football for the season to provide that live stream. And then the rest of the conference, all the other schools are in line. They've ordered their cameras. They have not been received yet or installed. So we're all working hard, obviously us with Homer Center with a partnership with you to streamline Wildcat football. But I know other schools are working on those options too until their cameras are installed. And that, I think it's important to note too that in the gyms, United and Penn's Manor are set for their volleyball. I just want to mention this real quick. And then Blairsville also is able to do it through National Federation for volleyball. The other schools they're all set to get systems for volleyball, but they're in line waiting right now as well.
So if you're a fan and you want to subscribe, how do you log on? What website do you go to?
Actually, if you go to Facebook, to the Heritage Conference page on Facebook, I gave them the direct link to register. And I'm trying to get timed in my schedule. I have so much time in to actually make a little how-to video to walk them through with a screenshot so they know exactly where to click and where to go. I think the biggest thing is if you go to nfhsnetwork.com, you can go and register. The one thing I would tell people is on the top of the screen when you get to that place to subscribe, you can go to the right and just hit describe, or you can type in your school's name. If you subscribe under your school, it'll give you an update of all their games that are slated no matter what the competition is on the National Federation Network. And also then some of the subscription fee does go back to benefit the local school.
All right, Jody, I wish we had more time, but we're running short. The good news is this weekend we know The United game and Homer Center will be available on Pixelot Stream, and 2 other games for sure, Saltsburg at Marian Center and Penn's Manor at Blairsville. So 3 out of the 5 games to start out with. That's not too bad, and we'll grow it from there.
And I do believe that the other schools that are hosting do have something in the mix. I just don't know the details of that yet. And I would just tell people now the best time is to keep contact with your local school. And then the second thing is to follow the Heritage Conference on Facebook. We'll be posting up all the links there as well, so fans can follow the Heritage Conference.
And we will get you the links for our 2 games Friday night, and we have all the audio links. So we have Trib Live High School Sports Network and the radio station. So we do, in as many ways as possible, have fans covered.
Yeah, I'm fortunate enough, Mark. I'll get to see the game live on Friday night at United. So
they gave you a ticket, huh?
They let me in.
All right, Jody. Thanks for stopping by. Maybe we can make this an annual thing for representation from you from the conference, because we're so grateful that Mario Luther hosts us each and every year.
Oh, and I'm really proud too, Mark, that it's in Homer Center's community. I mean, that's another feather. But I appreciate all you do to promote Heritage Conference and our students, and that's why the partnership works.
All right, thank you, Jody.
Thanks, Mark.
Jody Rainey, president of the Heritage Conference, and he's the principal, of course, at Homer Center Junior Senior High School. Other than that, he's got a lot of downtime to work in the fire department out there. But we're going to break. We're going to come back with more. Todd Marino will be talking to Sam Schutte of the Northern Cambria Colts. That's up next when the Luther Ford Lincoln Coaches Preview Show from Luther Ford in Homer City continues after this.
We're at Luther Ford Lincoln in Homer City, right along Route 119, hosting the Luther Ford Coaches Preview Show. Back with you, Todd Marino, and with Sam Schutte, head coach of the Northern Cambria Colts. Hard to believe we finally get to play some football, huh?
It sure is. We're finally here. Pins and needles all summer, but kids are out there. Looking forward to Friday Night Lights.
What is that like for you as a coach, not knowing from day to day if you're even going to have a football game to coach?
I'm not going to lie. It was frustrating. It was very frustrating. It was up and down. It was roller coaster. One day, 100% sure we're not having a season. Very next day, 100% sure we're having a season, and so forth and so on. And it was just stressful, very stressful. And it was just like, just make a decision. But they finally did. We're practicing, got the scrimmage in, and all systems go, and kids are smiles, and seniors get to have their final year, and that's what it's about.
That's the biggest thing, isn't it? The seniors who would be denied their season. We saw what happened at the end of last year with the baseball and softball teams and the spring sports track and field. Those kids didn't get a chance to complete their senior year. It's good to know that you're at least going to get a shot.
Yeah, and it is. It's about the kids, and it's about those memories that they're life-lasting, and they're going to get to have – at least it looks like those senior moments that they deserve.
Absolutely. All right, so you get the kids into heat camp. You run through a week of that, and then you move on to actual training camp. You get a week before you got to get them out onto the football field for a scrimmage. Who'd you play?
We had North Star.
North Star.
Yeah.
What was it like? How did the kids do?
It was a good scrimmage. It was what we wanted. It was back and forth. They were a good team. They were a well-coached team, and they gave us different looks and on offense and defense, and our kids were surprised by things, and that's what we want. We want our kids to be tested, and we want them to be ready for Friday night when it's no coaches in the huddle. So it was a positive scrimmage, and we got away from that scrimmage what we wanted.
Well, did you learn things about your team in the scrimmage that maybe the first week of training camp didn't reveal to you?
Well, adjustments, yeah. I think in order to win football games, especially in our conference, because you got to bring your A game, every Friday. There's no downtime. There's no team that you're going to get that you're going to win. You just don't. Mm-hmm. So it comes down to minimizing mistakes and execution. And teams make adjustments, and you got to counter those adjustments. And we saw some adjustments, and we didn't handle those at times. We got a young line, and when they start doing twists and stunts and things like that, we got to be able to handle that. And I like that our boys were thrown into the fire like that and tested, because we grow from it, we learn from it, and we move forward.
I think if you were to ask most coaches to be completely honest and say what unit of your team is the most key, every unit is important, but I think it would really come down to that offensive line.
100%. I don't think a kid would know that or think that, but 100%. If you don't have that foundation, you don't have a house to build on.
Doesn't matter how good the running back is.
That's it. Doesn't matter.
All right. So did you learn things about that offensive line, about the way they work together? Because that's as much a component as a kid being able to block individually.
Well, I think they learned a lot about each other, which is what we want. We want them to know each other's weaknesses and strengths, and we want them talking. I think I've been very fortunate in the past couple of years in having big, strong, smart linemen that were buddies. Mm-hmm. And, these guys aren't, I don't want to say they're not buddies, but they're not like guys that they hang around with each other and things like that, where in the past we've always had that. So on Thursday nights, Monday nights, they're going out together talking, and they're talking football, they're talking other things. And this year, I don't want to say it's a hodgepodge of guys, but it's guys that aren't like directly in the same social network.
Yeah.
So they have to work together, and they're learning about each other, and I think that's very important.
Experience versus inexperienced linemen. What do you have?
Yeah, we replaced 4.
Wow.
So yeah, we've been depleted, and we got our center back, which is key. Mm-hmm. He's a general. He's out there making the calls. He's the center. He's the captain, and that's one big positive. And then we have 4 other guys that were around him and not much experience. Gavin Rezick is our tackle that had a lot of playing time last year because of his brother went down, and we were able to throw him in there and get him a lot of game time experience. But other than that, we're green.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right, so at Northern Cambria, there are a couple of things that we always look for. We always know there's going to be a fullback who can block, who can run the football. We always know there's going to be a speed back or 2. And we know there's going to be a really smart quarterback who can handle the football. Tell me about this year's backfield.
Well, last year we had to build a lot, because we changed. I feel like you have to build your team around your team. If you understand
who you have.
Yeah, and we can't always run the ball 90% of the time and rely on our line if we don't have a good, big, strong, dominant line. So last year we saw a lot of potential in a lot of our skill guys, and so we tried to be a little bit more balanced, a little bit more dynamic, and build things around Mikey Hoover, who is a very intelligent type of quarterback. Mm-hmm. So we're just hoping to progress and build upon the concepts we put in last year. We have a lot of skill players returning. And, they're catching on. They bought into what we changed. And but one thing is for certain, we are going to be a tough team. We're going to try to pound the ball, but we're still going to try to finesse a little bit too.
Swinging around to defense, tell me about the whole unit as a whole.
Yeah. They're happy. They bought in. Like I said, we changed last year. We thought we were going to surprise everybody, totally change our defensive game plan. A lot of other teams changed and did the same thing we did. Yeah. They went with an odd front, which we did. We switched from an even to an odd, and you're just trying to be a little bit more dynamic. And it was the first year, so there were some bumps along the road. But this year, again, a lot of returns. Returned to 6-7 guys on the defensive side of the ball. So I think they're buying in, and I think we're able to again build upon what we did last year and just get a little bit better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So up front, linebackers, secondary, what's your strongest unit? What's the unit you're going to have to watch for to improve week to week?
Well, it's our line, because we've lost all of our linemen. Like I said, 4 starting linemen we lost. So, those are the guys we got to develop. We spent a lot of time with them in the little off season that we had. Coach Wagner spent a lot of time teaching them. He's doing a lot of unconventional things to get them ready and, just make up for that experience that they don't have.
There we go. Just had to hand that phone off to him right now. So week 1, you've got Bishop Carroll. That's different, isn't it?
Sure is different.
But for you, that's neighborhood almost.
Well, it is, but it isn't. I mean, back when I played, we played them, and they've always been in the conference, and then they got back out. It's a new team coming in, kind of not the best situation, I would not think, because you don't know what to expect. You don't have film on them, and when you play teams that you're familiar with, you know what to expect. You know what to prepare for, and now it's kind of a question mark. So it's kind of a bit unfamiliar in that regard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So not having any experience with them at all, did you get a look at them in the scrimmage?
We got to look at their scrimmage, but again, you don't know, you don't know what numbers are, and if that's really what they're about. And, but I think we got a little bit enough to prepare for. And I'm confident in our guys, and I'm confident in the way we're practicing, and I'm confident in the game plan we're putting forth.
Northern Cambria football is famous, of course, for what happens before the game. With the fire trucks, with the entire town, it is such a part of that community. It's a part of the heartbeat of the entire Northern Cambria community. It's going to be different this year, but can we hear the fire trucks still?
I don't know. I should probably check on that. If I know Northern Cambria like I know them, and I know that Hope Fire Department's going to be there.
Yeah, absolutely. That's just a part of it.
I think that gets them the fire department more fired up than our guys. I think sometimes
wouldn't be Colt.
I'm getting chills right now just thinking about it. I really
am. We were talking with Sam Schutte, the head coach of the Northern Cambria Colts. I asked this question of John McCullough earlier. I want to ask it of you. When you've got the team having all kinds of new protocols, safety protocols, distancing, masks, and all of that. Road tripping is going to be something that every team is going to have to get used to new things. Have you talked about that with the team yet?
Well, we were on the road for the scrimmage, and it was different. And I don't know if the Westpac has something different than the Heritage, but for instance, they had us. We could not use a locker room prior to the game.
Oh yeah.
So we had to kind of dress in our pants, our game pants, and then have our shoulder pads ready to go and go to our designated area, and then we were able to use the locker room after the game. So little things, and I just tell the guys we control the things we can control, and we just have to do what we have to do to play football. So, the other alternative is not playing. And when I put it that way to the guys, I mean, I've never had a problem with what I've asked, and I don't anticipate one. So if they ask us to go stand on one foot on a sidewalk, we're going to go stand on one foot in the sidewalk if that's what it takes to play some football.
Absolutely. Sam Schutte, thanks so much for coming and spend some time with us. We appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Good luck on Friday.
Thank you.
Sam Schutte, the Northern Cambria Colts. You're listening to the Luther Ford Coaches Preview Show here on AM 1160 WCCS, 101.1 FM. Of course, online, WCCSradio.com. You can also catch the video, and it's on our YouTube channel. Just go to our Facebook page, and you can click on the link right there. Sam, thanks to you. Coming up, let's see who we got lined up here. Oh, Mike Lazier's here. The Saltsburg Trojans getting set to play against the Marian Center Stingers coming up on Friday, and Chuck Clark is with him next. We're back in 30 seconds. From Luther Ford Lincoln in Homer City, back at the Luther Ford Coaches Preview Show, Todd Marino with you. And to my right, I find Chuck Clark, who is going to be talking next with the head coach of the Saltsburg Trojans, Mike Lazier. And Chuck, I'll have their game on Friday against the Marian Center Stingers. So
that's right.
Make this a good one, will you, so I can learn a few things about the Trojans.
Mike Lazier, head coach of the Saltsburg Trojans, with us on our Luther Ford Lincoln Coaches Show. Coach, you were one of the top teams in the Heritage Conference a year ago. 6-3 regular season and an 8-4 overall year. What do you want to improve on from that year last year?
Well, last year was a great year. Last year we had great senior leadership last year, and we had a good core of kids, underclassmen as well, that now they're coming up. So this year, it's a different group. So we got to, our leadership aspect, we lost some kids that were true leaders, in the Gibbons kid, and we have some kids stepping in right now. So we're just going to work on, as we go, getting some leaders, and we got to pick that leadership department up and improve on that daily.
Let's highlight the Trojans' offense. If you could go down by position, who are the people that we'll see there this year?
At quarterback, we're working Braden Stats. He's going to work in there, and Gino Bartolini's going to play some quarterback as well. Gino's going to do a little bit of everything, though, this year. He's going to run the ball. We'll do some different things with him because he is so versatile in the backfield. Also, too, we got Angelo Bartolini. He'll be in the backfield. Sincere McFarland is also going to be in the backfield this year. So we got a good group of backs that we'll have some balance there. Also, too, our skill guys, we're solid at the skill positions. We have Dave Staller returning. He had a big year last year, made some big plays. He stepped up. Tristan Rossler also is a bigger receiver. He's, both of those kids are 6'2", and they can both run. So our skill guys, we're looking pretty good right now. Rocco Bartolini's going to work in there as well. Santino Bartolini. All those kids will see time in that skill department. So when you look at our line, that's one of the areas that we're working on now, and they've been working hard and improving daily. At center right now, we're looking at Nate Simpson and Don Bartolini. They're going to work there. Guards, we got Colton Smith, Pletz. He's working at a guard. Brad Miller is back. He's working at a guard. And then our tackles, we got Derek Graff and Kyle Rossler. And all those, those kids played a little bit last year, but they didn't have the experience. So we're working on them, and they're getting better daily. They played well in the scrimmage, for the most part. So, but our line, they're starting to come together and, getting better every day.
Now, with the people you have on offense, does that dictate what type of system you'll run, or are they going to run what you're going to put in place?
That kind of dictates what we're going to run, but we have a pretty good system in place, and we've done some pretty good things offensively the last couple years.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a system, and our kids have been in that system, and they've been working that since we came out in July. So the kids are starting to pick up everything, and we got some athletes, and we're going to try to get the ball to them in space and make plays.
Does it favor the run or the pass?
A little bit of both. I mean, when you got guys that can do both, you got someone that can running back that can catch the ball in space. That's going to make some definitely give some defenses some hard matchup problems. So we're going to look to do both and mix it up.
For those people that you have coming back, how important was the season that you had last year, being able to play 12 games and make it into the district playoffs?
Oh, it was huge. These kids that were along last year and contributed to our season, they know what it takes to win. And they've been in some tough games. They handled adversity. So it's these kids that have been around. They know what they're doing. And they know how to win games because, we had Gibbons last year, and Gibbons was that true leader. But these other kids made big plays at times, and, everybody stepped up. So we got these same kids back. We have a lot of these athletes back that, I'd mentioned earlier. And they know what it takes to win and do what we need to do to be successful.
You have some big shoes that you have to fill.
Oh, yeah, definitely. There is some big shoes, with Gibbons, and it's not going to be one guy this year. Last year it was one guy that made plays, and he had a supporting cast. This year, we got several guys that are going to have to make plays and step up. And Bartolini, Gino's he's a leader. He's back, and we got Dave Staller. Those guys and Angelo Bartolini, those guys all made plays, and they know what to do. So they're going to get the ball, and they had success last year. So we're going to ride that.
Let's take a look at the other side of the ball, the Saltsburg defense. Some of those key people for you.
Defensively, our secondary. Our secondary's back from last year. We have Dave Staller. He'll be at safety. Rocco and Santino Bartolini will be out of corners. And then our backers, we got Gino Bartolini will be in there. Brady Yard is, he's going to work in at some linebacker. We got some other kids, that are going to step in, at the linebacker spot. Sincere McFarland's going to be one of our outside backers. Angelo Bartolini is going to be working in there as well. And those kids have all played. Our linebacking core is back from last year, which is huge. We're going to, really count on those guys to step up. Defensive line, we got Brad Miller. He's a kid that's coming back. He started last year. Kyle Rossler is another big tackle that we have coming back. And also, too, Derek Graff this year is going to play some defensive tackle.
A lot of times special teams get overlooked, but as we've seen, sometimes that can be the difference in the outcome of a football game. So far, how have your special teams been performing?
Not too bad. We lost our kicker last year, Colin Rossler. He was a pretty good kicker, extra points he was good on. And this year we have Kyle Rossler and Tristan Rossler. They're brothers of Colin, and they're going to do the kicking duties. And they've been putting their time in, and they know what they need to do, and so we'll be ready to go with that.
Give us a report on your scrimmage last week.
We went against Conemaugh Valley, and they were a tough team. They combined recently with Ferndale, so they brought about 42 kids down. They had some athletes, and scrimmage went well. We did good things on offense. We moved the ball. Defensively, we struggled at the beginning a little bit, and that was part of just, not game planning and, getting ready to see what we hadn't saw that offense. So, but moving forward, I think, looking at the scrimmage, I think overall, we were pretty happy with what we saw with the kids. They did a pretty good job.
Of course, it's the year of COVID. How has that affected your team getting ready for the season?
I'll tell you what, when we came back July 6th, I was expecting 10 to 15 kids show up. We had 28 kids show up that first night. And I wasn't expecting that, but I knew right then that these kids were committed, and they wanted to be there. They wanted to, make Saltsburg a great football team again and get after it. So these kids have done everything they need to do to have a season. So they've done a great job with the protocols we have in place, and I couldn't ask for any more out of them.
Do you credit that to your upperclassmen? Just getting out to say some of these kids, hey, we're starting, be there.
Yeah, I think that has a lot to do with it, and the past success. I think these kids want to be involved in that, and it's great to see that many kids showing up.
Finally, Coach, you're opening up at Marian Center Friday night. What have you been working on to get ready for the Stingers?
Well, they're a tough challenge. They were a tough challenge last year. We went up there last year, and it's a tough environment up there. This year, without the fans, it will be even tougher. We're going to go up there, and not have any Saltsburg fans in the stadium. So that's going to make it extremely tough. But they've run the ball well. They got a good athletic quarterback. So we'll definitely have a challenge. They have an active defense. So it's going to be a challenge, but we're going to put together a game plan and go up there and see what we can do.
Have we mentioned all the Saltsburg games will be streamed this year with the video, so folks who can't make it to the games will be able to watch your Trojans beginning Friday night at Marian Center. Coach, best of luck.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Mike Leisure, head coach of the Saltsburg Trojans.
I'll see him on Friday at Marian Center, Mike.
Yep, thank you.
Have a great day. All right, it is the Luther Ford Coaches Preview Show here on WCCS. And again, it's on AM 1160, 101.1 FM. Online, WCCSradio.com. You can click it on the link on our Facebook page and actually watch the video. And our thanks to everybody who's making that happen here tonight. Coming up, Kevin Marabito and his United Lions getting set for their opener against Homer Center. Mark Burdick will have that game here on WCCS on Friday night, and he is next in 30 seconds.
Hearing me okay, Coach?
All right, welcome back to Luther Ford Lincoln in Homer City on Friday night right here on WCCS. It will be the United Lions hosting the Homer Center Wildcats. Mark Burdick and Ward Hilliard will have that action. And, Mark, you've got a conversation with the Lions head coach.
I do. Is it 4 or 5 years at United already?
It's been a while, 5.
5 already.
Yeah,
so, Kevin, first things first. 2 years ago, that fabulous playoff run that was so much fun to be a part of. And then last year, just unbelievably, numbers are an issue. You end up with a forfeit or 2 on the record, and it's just a real struggle like you've never seen before. and this year something else like you've never seen before, as everybody has had to battle COVID. But let me start with the numbers thing first. I mean, up to about 28 players, I think, and boy, you go from not being able to hold practices 11 on 11, so that's like a check, right? That you're able to get that problem solved.
Yeah, it was, but actually we just lost two players. We lost player quit last week, and I had a player, opt out this week. Is mainly because of an injury, so we'll be down to 26. But it's been different. I mean, at least this year we can go out, we can scrimmage, we can do things. Where last year, you'd be around, you could never put a team out there. Just the only work you really got was game day. And now, we're very young, but it's exciting this year because the kids are working and the numbers help. You'd like to have a few more. I've always said the perfect number's 32, 33 players at a small school, but I'll take the 26, and our kids work hard, so that's the positive.
Last year, of course, low numbers and the injuries, and among them, I guess making matters worse, one of your leaders, actually your leading ball player who just had a sensational sophomore season, Hunter Cameron, was nicked up. So he's back, and I'm sure he's going to be a focal point of this 2020 Lions team.
Oh, Hunter will be. I mean, most teams, it's not going to be a secret who's probably going to get the ball a lot. Last year Hunter had to, deal with the injury problem. Then once the injury bug hit everything, moving him to quarterback, which, he's the type of player he would play anywhere. But Hunter's a big cog in. I mean, he come back a lot stronger this year. He's up over 200 pounds, runs fast, practices hard all the time, and it's a pleasure. But the key is going to be up front is trying to get him some running room and, getting the offensive line to gel, which it's getting better each week. I mean, it wasn't as – the scrimmage Saturday wasn't quite what you wanted, but believe it or not, an old run guy like me, we threw the ball a little bit more than we've done in the past. So hopefully, with throwing the ball a little bit, it's going to open it up even more for Hunter.
And one of the guys that'll be throwing the ball, quarterback Eli Clevenger, who's I think he was injured too last year too, right?
Yes, Eli went out. Actually, he only had a scrimmage, one game, and a quarter against Blairsville, and he was done for the year. He had a serious knee injury, and he actually just got cleared August the 10th. So he took him a little bit, and we have a young freshman that was in there too. But Eli, right now is going to take the reins, and hopefully, he's going to do a lot of positive things for us.
Talk about some of the guys up front that you mentioned too. I know your center's Ethan Hickson, and he's going to have one senior, I guess, is to his left, pretty sturdy ball player that has certainly been a contributor through the years, in Max Clevenger, but some underclassmen around him.
Yeah, really, Max is that leader, and Ethan's coming around. The Rose boy is doing, Isaiah Rose is doing a great job for us. We're still trying to find a left tackle. Right now it's a sophomore, or a freshman actually, Clint Safko. Our other guard was actually a running back for us last year, but as a freshman, Austin Clark, he now moved to the right guard position for us. So, we have a lot of unselfish players. I mean, Max actually started at center, his freshman, sophomore years. Now he's moved down to, we asked him a couple weeks ago to go to guard, and that's how you're going to be successful, being unselfish, So it's a plus, and we've got to get some young freshmen that are ready. I mean, right now they're pretty raw, but, hopefully within a few weeks they'll be able to contribute for us.
In the receiving core, I know I watched a little bit of your scrimmage tape from Saturday. Jacob Boring, I know, was on the receiving end of a few passes. You also will be mixing in Preston Kraft, and then at the tight end position, another familiar name, Reese Brenlinger. So a pretty good group there, really.
Yes, I mean, Jake's probably our one go-to guy, but, I mean, we threw the ball a lot to him on Saturday. Preston's a kid that just goes out and does everything for you to try to get other players open. And, with Reese, he hasn't played a lot of offense, in the past. I mean, he did last year out of necessity. His first 2 years was mainly a defensive player for us, but he's doing a great job. I mean, we just asked him this week to move down at that tight end position because, we were struggling a little bit there to try to get a blocker, and Reese Reese worked hard in the offseason, got a little bit bigger, and, we needed a little stronger guy in there at that tight end position. So he's very unselfish to do that.
What about on defense? I know you'll have a pretty nice mix of juniors and seniors in there, but still an inexperienced group that I'm sure week by week you're going to hope they improve, right?
Yeah, it's we're struggling a little bit defense. I thought we did a lot of positive things Saturday on defense, but the key I've always said is the linebackers. Right now we're two inside backers. We got Eli Clevenger and Austin Clark's both in there. Austin's not very big, but Eli's a player that a lot of times I've always being around Coach Page Sr. all those years, you didn't want to play your quarterback on defense much, but Eli's going to have to play there. We got Hunter Cameron on the outside. We got a Macaulay boy that's just a freshman. We just moved him to an outside backer Saturday. We got Reese back at the free safety. Croft and Boring on the outside. So I feel we got some pretty good perimeter people. It's just now we got to find some guys up front. Really our only solid player up front's Max Clevenger. But I think the other guys will contribute. But it's going to come down to Max and those inside linebackers for us.
With what went on 2 years ago and then what went on last year, kind of night and day, what are the goals? What are reasonable goals to bring it back a step at a time, Kevin?
Well, it's getting the kids to believe again. I mean, when I came here 5 years ago, it was you didn't know how to win, and it's sad right now that, we went through that, but, society or kids are changing. I mean, I don't know how many more years I can coach because of the way kids are changing. I mean, it's too many kids, concentrating on one sport. Where, my philosophy's always been if you're going on to play college football, just remember one thing: 4 years you're going to work. But to try to get it turned back around is just getting that belief that to win, and understand when you're down, you've got to dig in. If you have that lead, you can't relax, and and I try to make it fun. I know at times my players probably don't think it's fun, but we try to lax. We do things together on Thursday nights. We of course this year we can't because of the COVID, but we would go to a church every Thursday night. We would get a dinner. We ate together. And trying to get that camaraderie just to get kids to come out and enjoy it. And that's. And it's tough to do, Mark. I mean, kids, it's really changing. They don't have the work ethic of years ago, and there's too many other distractions. And, we just hope that, with what we have, we do the right things for them.
Well, we hope for the sake of the student athletes and particularly the seniors that we can ride this thing as long as we can. If it takes us all the way to November 6th, that'll be absolutely fantastic. It'll be a 9-game schedule and then go from there with any scaled back playoffs. But I know it's a step at a time. I'll close with this. You open up Friday night. I'll be there calling the game. We'll be a part of the video feed on Pixelot through the National Federation High School Organization, and you'll open up against Homer Center, and you'll be seeing a pretty talented quarterback that'll challenge your defense.
Yeah, I mean, nothing's ever easy for me, Mark. I mean, we got to start with probably one of the premier teams. I mean, I used to coach Coach Page years ago, but now coaching against him, I mean, he always has his kids well prepared, and he has players coming back. They're going to be tough. I mean, we know that the best defense we can have Friday night is our offense hold on to the football and keep their offense off, because I think they're, I know talking to Greg today, he's not real happy with the scrimmage, but I know what he didn't have in there in a scrimmage Saturday, and it's going to be a tough ball game for us. But I'm excited that we can go out and just play 4 quarters and do the best we can.
And with your ties to Coach Page Sr., which you already alluded to, and Laurel Valley, did that speech from Greg over that sidebar really surprise you that much?
No. I knew that. I was around Coach Page too long to know. I mean, it was, we're not going to be very good this year. You go on to state title. I mean, probably the best story was when I left and got the coaching job at Ferndale, and Mrs. Page would always be there. Well, Jaron, what are you going to do? You know, coach is leaving. Well, you know, we probably won't do anything. But I think he went to the Western Final the next year, so he really didn't need me. So it was, but no, it's great.
Well, I'm sure you were a big contributor because you've been an outstanding coach for a whole lot of years at various stops. I have the utmost respect for you. We look forward to seeing you Friday night.
Thank you very much, Mark. I appreciate what you guys do.
All right, head coach Kevin Marabito, not around the block for Kevin either, Todd, to come down here. We appreciate all of our coaches.
Well, he coached me in high school, too, in paper triangle football in study hall. We sat across from each other.
Oh, well, yeah, he had a sidebar about you, too, but we can't put that on radio.
Yeah, we're not doing that.
Just kidding.
He picked on me all the time.
All righty, it is the Luther Ford Coaches Preview Show here this evening on WCCS AM 1160, 101.1 FM, online, WCCSradio.com. And you can go to our Facebook page, click on the link, and watch the program as well. Up next, we bring back Jake Slobodnik. He's going to be talking with Matt Felisic, the head coach of the Purchase Line Red Dragons. Everybody's talking about Purchase Line, how much secretive Matt Felisic is up there with his ball players, and how this Seister boy runs the football, and Sanchez and everybody else. We're going to find out about it next, and that's in 30 seconds here on WCCS. Back to Luther Ford Lincoln in Homer City. Host for tonight's Luther Ford Coaches Preview Show, Adam Rising, head coach of the Marian Center Stingers, coming up. First, though, here's Matt Felisic with the Purchase Line Red Dragons and Jake Slobodnik.
Thanks, Todd. Matt, it's good to be here. I don't know if you're ever a Frankie Valli fan, but you ever heard the song "Oh What a Night"? Well, oh what a night! It feels good to be talking with you and previewing the season coming up, starting on Friday.
Absolutely. We were talking earlier to the kids about just getting a chance to play, and we're here and we're excited to go. And you could tell the kids are playing on blacktop, and it's not going to matter because they're just excited to play football.
Right, and they have to be excited based off the season that they just came off of. 8-5 regular season record, 6-3 in the Heritage Conference, and even a playoff appearance, 2 playoff wins. Unfortunately, it came to an end against Juniata Valley, but still, you got to be impressed with your team's performance, at least making it that far in the playoff race last year.
Yeah, last year we had 11 seniors, and it was a great group of kids, and we sort of set the bar high with those guys winning 8 games, and I think that's going to follow through this year with the group we have, and we're expecting big things. And it all trickles down, and then that should trickle into next year and so forth after every year after that.
You mentioned the team that you had last year. Y'all lost a little bit of talent from last year, but that's okay because it makes up for the people that are coming up through the ranks. One of them including, I believe it's Josh Seister, over 1,300 rushing yards last year, and he's now coming in to fill one of those captain roles. Can you speak on behalf of him, just what you've seen from not only heat camp but from training camp so far?
Yeah, Josh is a hard worker. Last year he rushed for close to 1,400 yards and missed our last 2.5 games. He definitely works hard, put on a lot of weight, good weight, still kept his speed, so he's going to be definitely a force in the league this year, and we're going to get him the ball a lot. And we got a lot of other guys that can run the ball and catch the ball as well, so we're excited with what we have on offense.
What are some other names we should watch out for on the offensive side for the Red Dragons?
Jace Brooks will be at our quarterback, and then our wings will be Brady Seister, who's Josh's cousin, and we have Mela Sanchez there also. We have Isaac Ewing in the backfield, and then our 2 receivers will be Dylan Overman and Andrew Beer. So we got a lot of skill back there. 2 seniors out of that group, and I think our thing we have this year, we had it last year also. We have a lot of speed, and if we can get to the edge, I think any of those running backs can take it to the house.
What are you noticing? Like, what are the biggest characteristics you're noticing from your offensive side of the ball?
I just think it's a willingness to help each other and share the football. I think that's what made it so successful last year. As a team, we rushed, I don't know, 2,700 yards or something we had rushing. It was a lot of yards. And this year I think it's the same thing. Obviously, Josh is going to get a lot of carries, but between Brady, Mello, Dylan, and Isaac and Andrew, those guys want the ball as well. So we're going to got to find a way, and everybody wants to help each other, and that's how you become successful.
Yeah, at least you got that load of talent to help back up,
Right.
the stars that are coming back. So
Right.
that should hopefully even out your offensive side. But without offense, you can't have a good offense without a good defense. So general comments just based on the defense that are coming out from Purchase Line so far this year.
We lost a lot last year, especially in our middle. There's a couple key seniors that we lost. D-backs also we lost. We got 3 new starters there this year. But there's a lot of speed, a lot of talent. And this week, last week going into our scrimmage, our defense hasn't seen a lot of action because it's such an unfair advantage to have your first defense go against your second offense. So we try to do half lines, and we were worried how they would perform, and they did really well Saturday in Mo Valley. Pretty physical, and we're happy with that type of football we want to play.
What do you notice about your team overall from your scrimmage against Moshannon Valley on Saturday?
I just think everyone's positive, and we're excited that we get to play. It doesn't matter. We had like 8 days of in-service, and the times were all messed up. So every day our practices were being at different times, and it didn't matter. We're still getting a great turnout of kids. Everyone was there. And the biggest thing that I noticed is this summer, I think we had 24 practices for 3 hours, 3 days a week, and we were getting an average of 30 varsity kids there, and we only got 36 on our team. So it shows the kids want to play, and we're excited about that, and hopefully their work ethic and our coaching gets us heading in the right direction this year.
And I'm sure their willingness to play and their work ethic is based on the team's performance last year. We've highlighted it when we first introduced you. A playoff appearance, you won against Blairsville and Portage last season.
Right.
But unfortunately suffered a heartbreaking loss against Juniata Valley in the 3rd round. But I'm sure these kids are just willing to get back to the playoff race, even if only 1 game in or they go the whole way to the state playoffs. I'm sure the intensity is high and the high energy in the locker room is radiating.
Yeah, definitely. And right now I think probably every team in the conference is high because they get to play football. And the goal obviously is to get our 9 games in and then get playoffs in and go as far as we can, because that's last year that little playoff run, it was so exciting, it was so much fun. Brought the team closer together, and it was a great community time. So that's what we want to get back this year, and 1 game at a time, and Friday we go to West Shamokin.
You just mentioned it. You face a familiar foe. You faced them last week in Week 1, West Shamokin. Big little victory coming over them, 26-20. And once again, you travel out to play them Week 1. What's the game plan? What's the atmosphere like? Just what's everything like going into Week 1, even after a whole summer of uncertainty?
Definitely going to be different because we're going to have no fans on our side, but as I said, the kids could care less. They just want to play football. But West Shamokin's a good team. Coach McCullough does an excellent job with them. Got to watch their scrimmage, and they look, like a really good opponent. It should be a really good football game Friday night. They look physical. They got some speed. They got a good quarterback who's coming back. So it should be a good game. And like I said, our kids are chomping at the bit to play, and we'll be ready to go.
Well, Coach, I wish you good luck in the first week as you set off on to embark another playoff appearance in the Heritage Conference. I'm sure it's going to be an exciting season for you guys, especially with Seister coming back, and as well as the loads of talent that you got both on the offensive side, defensive side, and the special teams side of the ball. So best of luck to you, Coach.
Thank you very much.
Coach Matt Felisic from Purchase Line, the Red Dragons, the head coach on the Luther Ford Coaches Preview Show. Todd, thanks for having us on.
Our pleasure. What time do you want me to call you, Coach, on Saturday? You're the first coach I get on Saturday mornings, usually about 4 o'clock. And it's usually from a camp in Potter County at the time.
No, McKean County.
McKean. Are you going to McKean County?
Yeah, so 6 o'clock should be
6
good.
o'clock will be fine?
It's not archery season yet, so once archery comes, you got to get me about 4:30.
We'll do it. We'll talk to you on Saturday.
All right, thanks, Todd.
He's Coach Matt Felisic, the Purchase Line Red Dragons. Let's pull in our final coach tonight for the Luther Ford Coaches Preview Show. Adam Rising is next with Chuck Clark, and we're back in 30 seconds. Luther Ford Coaches Preview Show here from Luther Ford Lincoln in Homer City. Chuck Clark going to talk with Adam Rising next, the Marian Center Stingers head coach. And, of course, we want to promote the fact that on Saturday mornings on WDID in the fall, that means the Luther Ford Coaches Corner program, and that is on AM 1450 and 100.3 FM, also streaming live on the Trib Live High School Sports Network. Adam Rising, of course. What is this, 3 years for you?
That's my 3rd year.
3rd year at Marian Center. And Chuck, he's put together. He's got an MO now. He's got tough, fast kids that know the game, and that's a pretty good MO to have. Let's learn from Coach Rising what it's all about for the Stingers this year.
Plus, he has a team that's coming off a 7-4 season.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, a lot of excitement the last 2 years, and we're hoping to build upon it this year.
Now, how many people have you lost from that team from a year ago, and who are some of the people stepping in?
Oh, a lot of good kids that we lost off that was just an amazing team last year that we had. You know, obviously the two big ones, Garrett Wells and Clayton Coble, just two amazing student athletes we had that anchored Garrett from being a running back that broke many school records, and Clayton Coble that had over 170 tackles, and many other seniors, Valia, McClellan, Leidig, a lot of good kids there. We're bringing back approximately 5 or 6 on each side of the football.
Let's start with the offense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, who's going to be those starters up front for you?
We're bringing back a pretty experienced line. Coach Penazata has trained these guys up the last couple years under his direction. Anchoring up front is going to be Gavin Effinger, Billy Gaston, the Landon Pork Bennett, Marvin Beatty as a tackle, and we got Dixon Harkins up there as well. We got a new guy out, Cody Willer, as our tight end, does a great job also. Destin Fisher up there at front. So that's, bringing, I want to say we're reloading because we're bringing a lot of our skill kids back with some holes to fill there. But up front for us is an addition for, not a super big line, but a line that moves very well, blocks well in open space, and we're excited to have those guys back.
Okay, your quarterbacks, running back, and receivers.
Anchoring, we brought, obviously, Ty Ryan. We made the move a few weeks into the season last year, putting him to quarterback, putting Pelko in a position to catch the football, run the ball, and that's what we're going with here. Ty Ryan has worked really hard. He does a nice job throwing the football direction-wise. Gavin Pelko is going to be our fullback. He's about 6 foot, 180, 185 pounds now. Has worked real well. With what we want to do offensively, with running the ball, putting him out slot, and just being very universal in what we can do with him. Brady Talkin, another kid that's worked super hard, is about 180 pounds, strong, has good speed, good ability to move in open space, and can run you over when he needs to. Great hands as well. Justin Peterson's going to act as a wing back / slot for us. Justin is, I don't want to say hasn't got a lot of attention, but he's an athletic kid. He's a very, very good athlete. Catches the ball well in open space, blocks well, can run. He's just a really nice slot player for us.
We see
out at the splits, TJ Lynn, great hands. Again, the kid's put about 20 pounds on, worked really hard, runs really good routes. Preston Fox has been a basketball player for us. He's 6'4", he can jump through the roof of a gym. So we're excited to have him out. Carter Leidig as well. So, we're reloading with some good kids that have been working hard.
Variation of the wing tee?
Yeah, we are. We're running, the last few years, we tried to speed up the tempo of the game a little bit, and we really enjoyed that. The kids like playing at a fast speed. Coaching staff, even myself, there's going to be situations where we have to huddle, but primarily running some slot wing tee. And also spreading the football out and slinging and gunning when we need to, or when we feel like we can throw at any given point this year.
What areas would you like to see improvement in with the Marian Center offense?
Offensively, we've got to finish drives. I tease Coach Ackerson a lot that runs our defense. Playing at faster speed, if we're giving the ball up after 3 downs, that's not good. That's getting the defense back on the field. So we have to sustain drives. We have to limit turnovers. And when we get downside of 35, we have to punch it in. Last year that was an issue. Getting down that red zone area and just not finishing from an offensive standpoint. Defensively as well, executing what we need to do, X's and O's up front. Secondary-wise this year in our secondary is a strength. Those kids, they're a year older, they're strong, they're fast. Same thing with the linebackers, are just finishing, maintaining blocks, and executing plays.
Tri-scrimmage last weekend, how did that go?
It went really well. We made a trip up to Glendale that we used to play back in Coach Malecki's days when he was head coach, and we picked up a try with them in Phillipsburg, Osceola. So it was a great scrimmage. 2 teams that we really didn't know much about. Both teams are supposed to be pretty solid this year. We came out injury-free, which was always a blessing. And overall, I feel our kids, it's nice to, A, play somebody else, and B, pick up some momentum on getting a little bit of relief that, we're having a football season.
What's been the biggest obstacle for Marian Center during this COVID?
Obviously everybody's a little bit on edge. I'm still probably myself on edge until Friday night or Saturday morning, maybe eventually. And just reassuring that, we're going to try to do everything in our power to keep the guys safe moving forward into the season, dealing with those obstacles. And I think that, everybody's in the same boat. You look at no lifting sessions in March, April, May, June, no 7-on-7s, which has been pivotal for our program as well, that you eliminate those things, and kids are a little bit behind the 8 ball right now. So I really hope, from a health standpoint, that that doesn't domino into injuries and so forth throughout the season with, taking a 4-month vacation for some guys.
Finally, you're the last coach in the room, so your look at the game against Saltsburg for Friday night.
I tell you what, Coach Lazier and his staff do a great job. They're always spreading the field, running some bells and whistle type thing, running some inside zone, outside zone. And I'm sure from his perspective, you can't replace a Josh Gibbons. But the guys that they have are nice ball players. They're quick. They do things well in open space. They're going to bring pressure. They always do. And we just have to execute that as well. And same thing with my coaching staff. Hats off to my assistant coaches, P.J. Ackerson, that calls our defense the last couple of years. Nick Penazar, that does a great job up front. And Brody Thompson, that works with our backs and our split ends. Coach Brad Smith, that's helping on double duties with varsity and junior high. Has been at Marian Center for over 30 years, so we're really glad to have him back. His boy Bradley Smith, Clayton Coble, Donnie Fulmer is our strength coach and junior high coach. And we're just ecstatic and really excited to hopefully raise some eyebrows throughout the course of this season.
Finally, you'll be happy with 7-2 again?
Not necessarily. I think our goals are a little bit higher this year. We're looking to exceed 7-2 for sure. I know my guys are, and especially our coaching staff.
Adam Rising, head coach of the Marian Center Stingers. Todd, you got him Friday night.
I have no idea what he means when he says I'm on edge. I mean, the guy is he's got to increase the intensity, Adam. That's what. All right, Friday night.
Thank you, guys.
We'll see you on the field against the Trojans. 92.5 FM U92. All right, so.
Streaming too. We want to get Dante over here to close things out.
Dante, come on over. Dante Luther.
Adam, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Get the headset on right there, Dante, from Coach Rising. And Dante's a big part of the dealership now, Todd, and his sister, I think she's up at Freedom Ford, right, in Evansburg. And a lot of people don't think about they think Luther Ford Lincoln in Homer City, but it's a family of dealerships now with Freedom Ford in Evansburg and Freedom Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram in Northern Cambria. We already had your dad on to start the show, so we'll finish with you, younger, your dad has a face for radio, but, hey. Thanks for having us.
No problem. Thank you for coming out. I'd just like to say shout out to all the coaches. Thank you for coming, to the team, to the staff, to all the players. Best of luck this year. I know me being an athlete, playing sports my whole life, multiple sports, it's a backbone of who I am, what I stand for, and it really helped shape me, mold me into the man I am today. So best of luck to all the coaches, the teams. Crush it. I know you got big goals, dreams, aspirations, so chase it and keep putting in the hard work and dedication.
Todd, Coach's Corner, I know every Saturday 8 to 10. Dante Mario, we thank them for sponsoring the Luther Ford Lincoln Coach's Corner. A tradition. Dante, this goes way back before you were born, 1969.
Back in the day, I was only a thought.
And real quickly, because we know that the winter season will be here before you know it. We were just talking off mic. You kind of overseeing some things going on in the service department. You have a great tire special.
Yeah, we have some good ideas. We have some really big ideas we want to get moving for service and parts to try to help out the community. Some customers, we want to do buy 3 tires, get 1 free. We're going to have prices coming out on, honestly, a little radio campaign here soon, so we'll have some prices and updates. Going to do a break special as well.
All right, Todd, there's a guy that used to haul in some passes in Westmoreland County. Do you know what school?
He could catch? I'm thinking Jeanette.
Oh.
No. Ooh, that was a terrible
His mother would be happy with that guess.
Yeah.
Hempfield.
Yeah.
Oh, man,
So-
I used to do Hempfield games when I did Indiana ball.
Yeah, I'm feeling a little Washington and Jefferson action after.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
There you
Dante,
go. Good
thanks
stuff.
for doing this. Thanks for having us.
No, thank you.
Okay.
All right. Is that going to do it? You done?
That's going to do it. Yeah, I'm done. Yeah.
Okay, thanks. You never know. You never know when that guy's done. All right, coming up on Friday night, of course, we've got 4 games on our Render broadcasting stations. Let's run down the roster really quick on WDAD AM 1450, 100.3 FM. Indiana against Armstrong at Armstrong in that beautiful facility. Cat Country 106.3 FM, the Penns Manor Comets visiting the Blairsville Bobcats. 92.5 FM U92. Saltsburg at Marian Center. And right here on WCCS, Homer Center visits United. Of course, all of the games on our radio stations, all of the games streaming on live, triblive.com. They will be directly linked at each of our station's websites for the game that is being played on that station. Thanks to everybody. Thanks to the guys on the video crew. Thanks to Mario Luther and everybody for coming up tonight. The Luther Ford Coaches Preview Show. Now, here on WCCS, AM 1160, 101.1 FM in Homer City, we join Pirates Baseball in progress.